How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the Transcending Sport podcast with Rob Cruz. This is a very special uh, podcast, and we're bringing to you a man who I really admire his work. He has done a lot. We're going to dig into his approach. We're going to dig into his methodologies and his philosophies around motor signatures. Now, I want to introduce to you Bertrand Théraulaz. Bertrand, welcome to the show.
Great, great. Yeah. I'm very, very pleased to be with you. Very pleased to be able to exchange with you. So very excited as well.
Great, great. I want to start off. I want to dig. I want to get right to it. I know you had a long day, and I want to get right to it. I want to say this. I would love for you to give us your how you got started. Like I know you started in volleyball early on, and it has transformed your research and your studies that you have done have transformed into this magnificent movement in sports. And I want to dig in. I want to start. Just your origin. Like how'd you get started in coaching, and a little bit about your background.
Okay, so I started coaching around the end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s. Okay, something like 79, 80. I was quite, a teenager at that time. 79, I was already 17. Okay, so I coach young juniors, youth athletes in volleyball in Lausanne, so the IOC city, the International Olympic Committee city,
Yeah.
Lausanne in Switzerland.
Hmm.
And I had a chance to be in one of the best volleyball club in Switzerland, and I started my journey as a coach, normal, following some education and around then. And then in the 83, 84, I met the national coach of the French national team, so women's national team,
Hmm.
Ralph Hippolyte.
Yeah.
And he was at the time taking over the team in France. It's a guy that was educated in the States.
Hmm.
And we had started a quite a nice friendship around 84, because he was there with the national team playing around the Lemon Lake, so near Lausanne and Geneva and Vevey, Montreux Jazz Festival. Okay, so there was nice tournament there. We exchanged a lot together. We were really into performance in volleyball, and I had a chance to be in that Lausanne University club.
Hmm.
Okay, and of course I was at the time also a selection coach, which means that the region, the selection for the region, which is the county around Lausanne. I overtook the responsibility, and later on, 80, let's say 88, 89, I had the chance to also become a national coach in the
Okay.
youth, the first youth men's team in Switzerland,
Okay.
under 16. Okay,
Hmm.
and all along, all those years, I exchanged with Ralph about the performance, about volleyball, all the schools that you could see around the world in volleyball. I mean, the Asian school, the US school, the Russian school, all Japanese, China, everything. Okay, so I was open to a lot of things, and I had a chance to have Ralph as a mentor, because he's 13 years older than me.
Yep.
Okay, and parallel to that, I studied biology in Lausanne University, and I decided not to get into research after a few times, so to quit the labs and get out of the research, just because I wanted to be on the pitch.
Hmm.
I wanted to coach. I wanted to teach. I
Hmm.
wanted really to be on the. I mean, I'm on the concrete side of the world, and not on the only theoretical one, going for research in a lab. So I decided to start again another study, which is physical education teacher, PE
Yep.
teacher in Lausanne University as well. Okay,
Hmm.
so okay, I did my 3 years there, and I was always training in parallel volleyball every day, almost every day,
Hmm.
with different kind of people, mostly men's. I was assistant in a first division women's volleyball team also for a few times, and then I really led the education of the Lausanne University Club,
Okay.
education path for juniors to the elite. Okay,
Okay.
So I was very passionate. I'm still very passionate about sports and volleyball, of course, but um, I had the chance really to have a mentor that were huge people. I mean, Ralph is a huge guy with a lot of creativity. He studied in Pepperdine. He studied in the States. He came to Europe for also coaching, and he also coached a lot on the East Coast in the US. And I finally decided to come to Europe. He coached in Sweden, coached in France, and coached later on in the UK. And he was always coming with the French national team to Switzerland. So the idea was really exchanging, sharing a lot of information about our passion, and that's it.
Yeah.
So we are around performance, and we were really witnessing that people were not playing the same. I mean, all the schools in volleyball were okay because you say should do this, you should do that, and so on and so forth. They all had very good cues and points, but at the same time, nobody could do everything there. So we had to really start to say, okay, how could we more individualize thing? Okay, because you ask something, you have a coach, you're training, and you ask something on a pitch and say, okay, do this, okay, do this, okay, people are trying to do their best, okay, playing also, and then you turn around your back, and when you come back, they're still doing the same thing. I mean,
That's true.
you know that one. Okay? I'm
That's
sure.
true.
I'm sure. Okay,
Yeah.
because they come back to what is natural.
That's
Okay,
right. That's right.
they come back to so at that point we were asking ourselves with Ralph, okay, what's the problem? So, and we just facing the mirror, we saw that we are the problem because we are asking things that are not natural for those people.
You're right.
Okay, they're okay for some of us, but the one size fits all doesn't exist. So that was the idea of starting the whole journey, searching for parameters, searching for people around the world that could let's say understand a little bit about what is individualization. Okay,
Right.
and I had a chance in the 80s when I started also my PE teacher story. I had the chance to meet a very, very nice guy. It's a French medical person, okay, a doctor that was also a PE teacher on the background. He studied medicine, so medical after PE teacher, and he also a degree in psychology.
Okay.
A guy that was all around. I mean, he
Yeah.
was in all the thing,
Right.
all
Yeah.
around. And he created in the 70s already a science. He called that a science, the science of human movement. He called that psychokinetic.
Psychokinetic.
And his name is Jean Leboulch. So Jean in French. John Leboulch is a guy from Normandy, from Brittany in France. Brittany, not Normandy. Brittany in France. And that guy, I asked him to be my tutor, like in my physical education journey. So he accepted to follow my work. And as I started coaching the youth team, national team, which is composed of people speaking French, Italian, and German, so it's a mix here. So I had to make my German much better because I'm a French-speaking guy. You can hear in my accents, and we also learn, of course, the languages in school. So at that time, he accepted to follow my work, and I studied what could be psychokinetic in the education in volleyball. So the science of human movement. Okay, I have the books here around, and that guy sadly passed away. He was almost 80 when he passed away in the beginning of 2000 something. But he accepted to follow my work, and I really I dug deep into individualization, what could be different, and I studied the mental representation of the kids. How do they represent when they are spiking, when they are bumping, doing something? Okay, and I design experiments for them to show me how they were realizing their movement internally. We call that the function of interiorization function. So I did that. I created exercise. I created a lot of things, and that 150 pages work. It's a big work. Took me a lot of time, of course,
Yeah.
2 years later, it was in 92, 91, 92. 2 years later, this work that I have here um, is received the Swiss prize, the first Swiss prize, scientific Swiss prize, from the Association of Physical Education in Switzerland. So I was really on the track, okay, of studying things and coaching. I mean, every day in the gym, every day in the gym, every day in the gym, okay, even the weekend and so on and so forth. So crazy life because you train like hell. But I was responsible for the young guys and then the second team and then later on the first team. So I was also moving as a national coach from youth to junior to the men's team. And I had the chance to exchange every week, almost every week with Ralph. He was at the time also in England. He was technical director of volleyball in the UK.
Okay.
And I also visited him, and I was also going for my own education as a national coach. We have what we call the elite sport committee, and I followed also the education with, for example, the guy that was leading the education at the time. He was the physical conditioner of the French team that did the Olympic final in Sydney against the Dream Team, the US Dream Team.
Okay.
The French team won the silver in Sydney, and that guy was the physical education guy. Okay, for the guy. And he just passed away sadly a few months ago, and he was also one of my mentor. And 83 years old, and of course they were passionate guys. So I was really surrounded by a lot of mentors, incredible guys, and I had the chance to learn from them, of course. But I was really founded into individualization. How could we do better and go away from the one size fits all? Okay.
Right.
So I did that with the French guy, the French medical guy, and he was really pleased about the work that I did. It's why also the things received the first prize. And then I did in parallel for my education, I did another research work with what we call the Bosco mat. Carmelo Bosco. Carmelo Bosco is a Italian scientific. He created one of the first mats, electronic mat with a Psion 232, where you had the serial thing, plastic mat with metal bands. And then we could go for squat jump, counter movement jump, drop jump, rebound jump. And I measured every single time I was working with the national team, I measured them on the mat. Okay, before the matches, after the matches, to see how they get tired, what kind of jump power they had. And Carmelo Bosco did also a special formula to try to infer indirectly from those different jumps, to infer how much fast twitch those people had. So percentage of fast twitch. Okay, you have slow twitch, you have fast twitch, you have medium also. So my idea was to see, okay, how those athletes were really evolving over time. Okay, and I saw there, of course, that they were not jumping using the same strategies. How they were preparing their jump, how they were leaning forward, how they were using their legs, how they were, rebounding, bouncing, or more pushing. Okay, so I saw like a continuum between some people that were very plyometrics and some people that were more concentric in the way they were jumping. So the flight time, the contact time on the mat were really, really like a motor signature.
Right.
Okay, but we didn't have the cues or the keys to unlock the system and understand why it is so. Okay, we didn't have the why. And later on, I had a physiotherapist that became also my best lady when I had my wedding in 2000. That gave me a book from a Belgian professor of physiotherapy called Raymond Soyer. He also passed away, 80 something, almost 90. And that guy wrote a book in French about the walk coming from the top or the walk coming from the bottom. Okay? And he designed exercise, he designed also analysis. He created in Belgium what he called the analytical physiotherapy. And he showed that the center of gravity of people could be slightly in front of your hip axis or slightly behind your hip axis. Okay? And that, of course, the muscle chains guiding and coordinating around that were used completely differently. Okay? But we had no clue about how to profile that.
Right.
So he didn't give any clue about that. So okay, this is like that. We have this, we have that. Pathological profile were different if you were walking from the top or walking from the bottom. And he was analyzing that more on the physiotherapy system, which is how are the problems, or how comes the problems when you are like that or like that or like this. Okay, so that was the main thing. And my own physiotherapist from the national team gave me that book, and she had a nice contact directly with that guy, and I could really learn from her. And of course, I was very intrigued. And at the same time, as a national coach, I organized in 95 a trip to the States with the national team, with the junior national team. The first trip was in California. We went there to play indoor and beach. Some of our guys even got to the final of the beach volleyball for juniors in California, some of the Swiss guys. And we were playing against some teams, and I had a very nice friend, Tom Ashen, that also passed away sadly not so long after, a few years after, but helped us a lot to develop the program there. And he gave me a book about psychological or a motor thing, analyzed by Jonathan Nidnagel. Jonathan Nidnagel is a guy that worked with the Celtics. He worked with different people. He had an approach, and the problem, he was giving a lot of profile in his book, but also no cues about how to find something.
Right.
I mean, very practically. So no practical thing. Just, okay, he's like that, he's like this, okay. And I also of course, at the same time, in the beginning of the 90s, I was very interested in psychological types. So I studied Carl Gustav Jung, the guy that wrote the first book on psychological type in 1921.
Wow.
Okay, 1921, about psychological types. It's a book that he wrote in German. He's a Swiss German guy, and it's from my country. I mean, and then I didn't know all along that he was there. I mean, he passed away in 61. I was born 62, so just a little bit after him, he passed away. And I studied his work, and I understand. I got to Nidnagel's information because, of course, Nidnagel based his work on Walter Lowen's research. Walter Lowenz is a mechanical engineer that did part of his studies also in Zurich University in Switzerland, but he was American. He also passed away, and in 2004, I think. And of course, Nidnagel based his work on his work, on the other guy's work. Okay, and that guy was Walter Lowen, was the first guy to create the link between Jung theory and motor thinking. And it's a nice story because he was provoked by his own son, okay, which was, of course, much younger. But he said, okay, Dad, I don't want to have a dad that doesn't understand me. The dad was a freaking scientist. I mean, somebody always in the lab with, I mean, the crazy guy, okay, a little bit like we can imagine in the Back to the Future. You know, the guy,
the professor,
like that. He was a bit like that, and he was always stuck in a thing. And the son said, "No, I want you to understand me. So, hey, get out of your lab. I take you to the world, okay? And I see how you can relate to people, because, of course, the son was much more relational than the father, and the father was then motivated to studied Jung's work. Okay, how come that I am stuck in my lab and have a lot of passion and a lot of pleasure, and that my son is completely different? Okay, he wants to go with people, he wants to party, he wants to do a lot of things, but nothing, I mean, connected with what I do. Okay, So he studied that, and he created a nice systemic approach of what Jung was or created. Okay, and of course he found four families of motor skill, but of course a lot of explanation. Again, nothing really concrete. No one practical thing. Okay,
Can I
and
pause
of
you for a
course,
second? Can I pause you?
yeah, of
I
course,
have a couple of questions. So it's a couple of things I want to just point out in your saying. Is what I'm getting from you is there is a evolution of how this entire approach got to where it is today, based
hmm
on people studying one person's work and then building on that person's work and building on that person's work, and people being willing to mentor people, and people being
yeah,
willing to be mentored, people being humble enough as a coach to have the humility to be mentored,
yeah,
and
of course.
master coaches are reading. They're
hmm
reading. They have the discipline to sit down and read books and really dig into how things have changed. Now, what I also realized, and you talked about the analyzing the jump,
Yes.
right? And I remember back in 2011, I was exposed to a European company called Microgate, and
Microgate, yeah,
they had a machine called the Opto Jump.
yeah,
You remember
yeah,
that? Of course you have to have heard of it. And I actually was connected with them, and that's when I first was exposed to the idea that if we can analyze the jump, if we can analyze the fatigue, if we can analyze the differentials in power on both sides of the leg, flight time, contact time, we can really get a really good signature. But it's just like you saying, I'm like, but why? But
yeah,
why? You know what I mean? So I think just us being able to, and for my sport, which is softball and some baseball, we have to start asking ourselves those questions, why, and being more
yeah,
curious about why. And,
yes,
and, and I think this is where, and I'm glad you're giving us the origin of where it came from, because you were able to do what most coaches don't do. You were able to see all the dots, but you also were able to connect all the dots.
yeah. Because
Okay.
I was surrounded by marvelous people.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
but like Ralph is a genius in creativity
Yeah.
and ideas, and I have our ways of functioning are very complementary. I'm a very
Mm-hmm.
conceptual guy, but I love practical. I love to train. I love to coach. I love to be there with kids, and
Mm-hmm.
also with top athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like trying always to find original things, new things, innovating on volleyball.
Right.
And he created systems in volleyball that are completely incredible.
Right.
Okay. And he's not recognized for what he did. He was an International Volleyball Federation instructor for a long time. And he was really all around the world giving clinics and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, if
So,
you, okay, I'm sorry. If
no,
you
no,
could,
I mean, people, I mean, the connection with people is, I mean, fundamental,
right,
fundamental.
right. Now, if you could, in 3 to 5 sentences, like almost like an elevator pitch, what's action types?
Okay. Uh, Action type, it's a way to look at movement. Okay, it's a way to look at movement from what we call the motor signature side, which is trying to gain information on what makes you unique. What makes you unique? What makes you unique is the way you move.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have a brain, and the brain is for movement. It's not for thinking. Okay,
Hmm.
it's for movement. A brain
Hmm.
is a coordination device for movement. It's a sensory motor system that is not here to control, but is here to coordinate your body. Okay, right, left, front, back, up, down. I mean, so you have like maps in your brain. You have a lot of maps, sensory motor maps,
Hmm.
that allow the system to know where I am. Where am I? Where's my left? Where's my right?
Hmm.
Am I leaning forward, backward, and so on and so forth? So action type is about discovering the internal reference system of a person.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. So
it's an action profile. It's an action profile.
it's an action profile. Okay, because
Yeah,
we're currently in an industry, especially here in the West, it's different. And I've learned more, I think, in terms of how to coach from other parts of the world, right? Europe, other countries, and I've learned more about what to coach in the West. Obviously, how to coach it is more important than what to coach. So,
I mean,
right,
both.
right. So now it's both, but like if you just don't understand the what, then you can get stuck in cookie cutting, forcing people into an unnatural movement sequence or movement pattern. Right, that can happen to a coach. So what I'm asking you now is, with this methodology, we talk about constraint led. We talk about a lot of constraint led approaches, right? We talk about differential learning. We talk about that. I'm very familiar with those things because I'm doing that in my own coaching certification programs. But now when we talk about intent based coaching, how does intent based deal with the psychology of the movement / the cognitive part of the movement, which I believe is where it originates.
Mm.
And that gives us the signature, the motor signature. Am I wrong? Am I right? Or how would you articulate that?
Yeah, that's okay. First of all, differential learning appeared to be found by Wolfgang Schöllhorn almost exactly at the same time we found the first big point that launched the action type completely. The first discovery we made in '98. I was in Canberra, Australia, working with an Australian national team and a Swiss team as a sparring partner before the Olympics.
Yep.
Okay, and there Wolfgang Schöllhorn was creating the differential learning approach at that time.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that he was giving afterwards clinics around the world, and they should have been publishing a few things that he found at the time that he developed on other people, of course.
Yep.
Okay, you never really discover. They discover something that's based on other works,
Yes.
like Bernstein, the Russian physiologist from the beginning of the last century, in Russia, and a lot of people. And the constraint approach, let's say that they took from him because he gave them everything. They didn't publish, and they waited until they found their own thing, but they used all the data from Wolfgang. So he was a bit stupid, like we were also at the beginning, because we were giving. I mean, everything we found, we were giving.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when you do that, you don't think about the future, and you're stolen, and that's a problem, of course. But what you said is completely true in terms of how we coach, why we coach, what we coach.
Mm-hmm.
All those questions are fundamentals. But for me, as a coach, I need to know myself, like a medical doctor, like a psychologist, like a physiotherapist, like a psychotherapist. I need to know myself because I have some needs. And I need to be aware that the people I'm coaching, they don't have the same needs. And that's the most difficult part of the game, because you have one experience, and you are facing lots of experiences that are completely different from yours. Okay? But as a shortcut, we put our needs on the guys in front of us. Okay? We say, okay, they should need the same as me. No, they don't. No, they don't. So the problem is here. Is the fact that the mirror game is also a difficult game. Okay, the tendency for coaches is to be what we call too prescriptive. Do this, do that, and so on and so forth. They give information, counsel, okay, cues and everything, but they don't know if it's really what the people in front of them need.
That's true.
So action type is always starting not with what we know, but with the need of the people in front of us. We could say we're starting with the client. Okay, who is the client? Who do we have in front of us?
Right.
What does the person need? So it's a way around. They give us the cues. Okay, we're not putting a plaster, on a wound, because it's an external solution. Okay, we're not putting that. We are trying to figure out from the inside out, what do they need? what would be the best technique for them to suit that problem coming from the inside, not from the outside. For me, technical things, it's coming from your inside of your body, not from anything else.
Got it. Okay, so I want to ask you a question. So you have, and this is the question that everybody who's watching this podcast in the baseball softball world is going to want to know. They're going to want to know, what is the difference between action types and motor preferences? This is what they're going to want to know.
So action type.
Why is this different? Why is this?
Yeah,
I know, but I want them to hear it from you.
Okay, so first of all, motor preferences. We created based on what I just explained before. Of course,
Yes.
okay. We created the momentum in motor preferences.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it comes from us. It doesn't come from anybody else. Okay, we had a lot of things, but since it was not connected together, all what I said, all those theories that were published before, they were not connected together. So our role was to connect the pieces together, and for that, I spent a few weeks in Denver, Colorado, in Dillon over Denver, with a neuropsychologist. Okay, which is called Benzinger, Catherine Benzinger. She created the Benzinger thinking style assessment, and we created a neuro model of the coordination of motor things of anybody, where we could predict how to coach, how to use the thing. Okay, it's a model, it's a neuro model based really on the scientific things.
Mm-hmm.
And she helped me connect the dots also.
Yeah.
And I invited her to the Switzerland because I was leading the Swiss coaching education for 17 years for the Swiss Olympic movement.
Mm-hmm.
For 70 years, I was leading the French speaking. So let's say 15 years, because the first 2 years we were two, but had to do myself after 2 years. 15 years of leading the French speaking top coaches in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Okay, but I was also teaching to the German speaking about personal development and coordination and individualization and all those things. So I was a fully employed guy from the Swiss department, the Swiss Federal Office of Sports.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so I could develop the fact that with Ralph being there in France and UK and everything, and me in Switzerland, we exchanged a lot, and we developed a practical way of profiling. And nobody was doing that before. Nobody, no one person. I mean, okay. So we started doing the first practical things in 1998, 99. Okay. So nobody was talking about that at that time. Nobody. And there is no practical thing. So because I was in 2000 starting my job with a lot of top athletes, top coaches, I could really work with a lot of top level people. And Ralph was doing the same a few years after, because he was also on the sports center in Paris. We call National Sports Center in Paris, where he was also doing a lot of work with top athletes and coaches. And we were always exchanging, just being curious about how does it work. Okay, but the first discovery was 98. We linked the information of the center of gravity from Raymond Soyer with the Jungian information, with Carl Gustav Jung information from 1921. Okay, and we saw that there were a link directly with the center of gravity and the way you approach information, which is through bodily sensation or through information coming unconsciously into your intuition channel. Okay, because that was two of the main functions that Jung was developing: the sensation function and the intuition function. So I created the first link when I was in Canberra. It was the winter in Canberra, 98. Between those information, I had the books with me, and I said, okay, how it's not possible to be that simple. I didn't believe in myself. Okay, at that moment, I said, no, it's not that. I mean, okay. But then I was looking at the kids because they were now growing to the men's team. So I knew them for a long time. And I knew really good how they were coordinating and how they were playing. And I saw directly the link. Okay, he's like this, he's like that, he used that, he used this, and so on. And then, of course, we developed with Ralph together the first profiling protocol.
Yeah.
Okay, the first profiling, we could say the 1.0 version. Now we are preparing the 5.0.
5.0.
Okay, but it was the 1.0 to try to find physically how things were organized, linking your brain to your body. Okay, and of course, we started teaching that in 2002, 2003 already. Our first discoveries. We found the mobile point, the stable point, the association or dissociation of the shoulder and hip girdles,
Yeah.
the vertical horizontal thing. We found the dominant shoulder. We found the motor eye, the radar side. Okay, we found a lot of things, a spiral in the body. We found, there's a lot of elements, but mostly what makes ActionType completely different is we know we have 4 motor skill available. Everybody has 4. Okay, so you're not one. One is expressing, but you have the 3 in the backstage that are working for the one that is talking. So your brain is always working 100%. 100% of your brain is always working, having different parts that are coordinated together for that one to express. But you can also win medals in the second, in the third, and the fourth.
Right.
Okay, so they are all solutions that are completely performant. They are able to perform, no problem, if you listen to your body. And the sentence we created at that time is, okay, listen to your body, not anybody.
I've seen that
Okay.
one. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
that one is very important because it's not obvious because nobody is really listening to the body when you talk sports.
Right.
In therapy, yes, in psycho thing, yes, but in sports, okay, you feel tired, you feel a bit light, you feel a bit stressed, but are you really listening to your body? Is giving you the information, but it's not talking. It's using posture, it's using muscle chains, it's using attentional system. Okay, and you need to learn how to self observe to just understand what you're doing, how your body is coping with the environment and the problem you're facing or the challenges you're facing, because the body has always one solution. That's a very important thing. You can be in any situation in your life, there is 4. One of the 4 will always be the best solution for you at that moment. Okay, but the day after, or the few hours after, or a few minutes even after, it may not be this one, but the next one here.
Right.
Because your environment, your internal environment, and the constraints of your nervous system with your body, coping with your body needs, is moving every single second. Is moving. So you just have to witness that movement and the fact that your body is trying to self-organize to find the best possible solution for you. Okay, but it's not talking, it's not sending you emails or a WhatsApp or something, of course. Okay, so you need to listen to your body, and that's the at the beginning maybe the most challenging thing to do. Okay, put attention on yourself, not on the outside. Put your attention on yourself. Okay, and then you will learn how to read, how to use this information, because they're always giving you the best. It's always giving you the best possible thing. Okay, and that's very important to understand. So we have the 4 things. So our first motor skill, we call it a comfort zone, but it's an exploitation zone. It's a comfort zone because it's the one you relate the most in your conscious day.
Right.
So you feel like this is home sweet home. Okay, I know where I am there, no problem. Okay, it seems to be my house. Okay, it's my room, my house. Okay, but at the same time, this system is highly susceptible, highly sensitive. It's hypersensitive. It cannot go with negative information. It's not working with negative information. Okay? So if you face a negative situation for you, your first system, your comfort zone, we say bye-bye. It goes to the second one. It goes to the second one. And the second one is what we call an exploration zone or an exploration motor skill. And that's one where you recover, when you calm down, when you recover, where you rejuvenate. Okay? It's not the first one, it's the second one. Because if you want to recover, you need to let the first one, calm and use something else, another way of coordinating your body, so that the first one can come back. This is very, very intelligent. The intelligence of the body, is completely genius. Okay, so you need really to understand how those different resources are organizing together, so that your training, your coaching is intelligent enough to use those resources when they are available.
Right.
Okay? And if you only train the first one, you kill yourself. You will be injured because you overuse a system that has to recover, that has to rejuvenate, that has to do something else and not always the same thing. And the first and the second, they are very complementary. Okay? Which means when you let one or the other speak, you allow the other to completely recover. Okay? And you can train the first, you can train the second, you can train the third, and you can train the fourth. They are all trainable. And the idea is not to make you the best in all, but the idea is to give your body and mind a flow situation where there is no blockages if you have to call one of them. Okay? Because that's the flow situation, the optimal zone, the zone we were talking. It's the freedom to go wherever you want and take what is the best solution for you to perform. But it's not only the one, it's not the first one only. Okay? The first one, you have the spatial acquaintances with, because of course you relate to that one in very consciously. And the other are coming also sometimes less conscious. It's why it could be a challenge. It could be a challenge for people because they could feel like, okay, I'm in no man's land here. Okay? I don't understand what's going on. But if you learn to trust those things, you perform like hell. You're very good. Okay? Even if you are stressed, even if you are tired, you can perform very well. And you avoid injuries because you let the four things self-organize together. So we have much more than one thing.
Right.
And that's very dangerous to think that you have one thing that can do the job, because here you're reducing your system in a simplistic way that is completely not true. And Wolfgang Schuller, the father of differential learning, he followed our education, for all education, and he completely agrees with what we discovered. We are now measuring scientifically parameters in his lab in Mainz, in Germany, and in other labs around Europe. And we found spectacular things in terms of, and it will be published, of course. But at the beginning, we didn't publish. We found a lot of things because we didn't have the money to publish, the money to study the things. Okay, we were, passionate guys searching like crazy, reading books, meeting people, exchanging, developing a lot of things, and coaching.
Yeah.
We were not, even if I have a scientific background, we were not in a lab. We were in the empirical world, really working with people directly and searching or publishing something was not our goal. Our goal was performance, go for the gold medals, go for the world championship, go for a lot of things, and we developed the approach in more than 30 different sports disciplines.
Wow.
30 different sport disciplines. It can go from bowling to archery to canoe to soccer to karate, judo. I mean, all those things.
Well, can I
We
say
we
this?
were
Yeah.
yes.
I also happen to know that it's not only sports.
No, of course.
There's bipolarism, there's autism, up and down the autism spectrum. That
Yes.
this stuff is true for as well. Can you speak a little bit about that? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. When we started studying human movement coordination, brain and body things, of course we met a lot of people that were in therapy, in medical therapy or physiotherapy,
Mm-hmm.
osteopathy, and so on and so forth. Okay, a lot of people that were also working with handicapped people, and we coached also, and we educated a lot of coaches that are
Mm-hmm.
working with handicapped people. Okay, so we work with handicapped Olympic teams also, table tennis, and so forth. But they are also able to use that, and in the therapy, my own wife was a former player of Ralph's team in Ralph's team. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and the incredible thing, and she played. I mean, about she had a career of top level volleyball, 14 years,
Mm-hmm.
14 years, and she played, I think, so like eight years in the national team, and she also became um, elected in the team of the last century for the French Volleyball Federation.
Oh, wow.
Election of the special team. She was one of the best at the time, and she was one of the first lady in the 80s to
Mm-hmm.
jump serve in volleyball.
Oh,
Okay, no ladies was jump serving at the time there, and she
wow.
was one of the first because Ralph was the coach, and Ralph said, "Joel, jump and do that because you can do that. She's very very good. She could
Mm-hmm.
jump. She could touch the basketball hoop
Mm-hmm.
as a lady, being not so tall, but with a big jump, with a
Yeah.
big jump."
Mm-hmm.
And she became therapist after her career, and she's using action types in therapy. So she's massaging and healing people according to profile, because the tension in your body, you will listen to a podcast one time in English about her speaking. Your tension in your body, they are coming always according to how you use it, which means according to your motor signature, and you need to release the tension according to your profile. Okay, you need to release the mobile point, the stable point, the different way of using your spine. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
these things makes her very very efficient, and in Switzerland she has I mean, she's full of work because she's incredibly good at that. Okay, and she did that with a lot of top athletes, NHL players,
Mm-hmm.
soccer players, ice hockey players in Switzerland, and so on and so forth. But also people from corporate that are working in big factories here, watch factories, because I live not far away from the watch world here in Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and she developed, I mean, a way to individualize the treatment, the healing, uh, linking body and mind.
Yeah.
Okay, and she's a osteopath, also physiotherapist, but she also has a master in NLP. She has a master in hypnosis and everything. But the transversal and the guiding thing is individualization, thanks to action types. Because
Good stuff.
if you don't individualize your treatment, you are not going to help the person. Okay, they will come back with other things. You need to teach them how to take care of their own resources or their own profile. Okay, and not just do the standard one size fits all thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same in therapy. And if you go in school, I was also a school teacher, okay, during 10 years. And in school, I developed that action type in school also with teachers and um, and some directors of school establishment, I mean, school, college, and everything. They accepted to create a few special projects for the teachers and for the kids to understand how they were working, how they were placed in the classroom, so that they could really listen better and play with attention,
Mm-hmm.
because they could have deficit in attention. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but in fact, it can be solved. These things can be solved if you understand the profile.
Right.
Okay, so we can play with those things. Autism. I also worked a lot with those people, and we have certified people in ActionTypes that are working specialized in autism spectrum. Okay, and you have very very nice result. We have very nice result in terms of understanding that the problem is not always autism. The problem is not always handicap. The problem is sometimes that we don't respect what they need again. Okay, because everybody is seeing there through the autism window or from the handicap window, but they don't acknowledge the fact that they are human beings with natural needs.
Right.
Okay, and if you understand and you use that, okay, play with both sides, then they also develop and they also cope with the situation much better.
So
Okay.
if we coach their human needs,
Yes.
that takes care of their ability to express their athletic potential.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes, of course. And not only that, it takes care of the recovery, because the recovery is one of the major things in sports. People are mostly very good at training, but they're not very good at recovering.
Right.
So they don't acknowledge the importance of recovering. Okay. And that's even more important than training.
Very
Okay.
true.
So
Very true.
because if you train and you don't take the time to recover, at some point you will explode.
That's true.
Your career will go off because you will have injuries. You have recurring injuries. You will have a lot of tensions that you're not doing. You don't know what to do with those tensions. Okay, so you need really. And my wife is really a recovering specialist.
Hmm.
She's a healer, but she's a recovering specialist. So she's teaching people how to recover, how to take the time and quality time to recover. So in our house, we have a full lot of things to recover, to help people recover. And she's passionate about that because she was an athlete, and she at the end of her career, she had the shoulder surgery because some coaches gave her information that were not according to her need. Okay, and she had to spike in a way, spike the ball in volleyball. She was playing a few years in Italy as a professional, and she was taught to spike in a way that was not natural for her. Boom, shoulder surgery, and she did the surgery. She played a little bit, and then she stopped the career after 14 years, and she became a therapist. Okay, now she's also really doing helping also for the courses, for the education and so forth. I flew with her to the farm system in Vegas last year in
Yeah.
January
I remember you guys
to
went there.
help Joey and his team. Very nice people. We love them. They're very nice people to because they're also fond about individualization.
Yep.
So we help them understand what we were really doing, and they have an incredible nice product also for coordination and for training. They are very inventive, they are very innovative also, and
They are.
that's nice people, and they are open. Okay, I mean, if you want one quality for a coach, is be open,
That's right.
be curious, be open. Okay, when I was teaching the coaches the high level, it's the high level coaching education in Switzerland that I did in the sports center in Switzerland. You don't have higher than that. My first sentence with the coach is coming, a few minutes, a few hours when they're coming to the beginning of the thing, is thinking you know is not knowing how to think.
That's true.
And that's very important, because
Yeah.
if you think you know, you are already dead for the story.
Done.
Okay? You close the door, you're no more curious. I mean, if you want to be a scientist, if you want to be a coach, if you want to be anybody working with people, stay curious, stay open. Okay? You know a lot of things, of course. Okay? And the athletes, they don't need always your knowledge. What they need is you not to know about them, which means listen, observe. Okay, do the thing they need. But if you come always with something to put from the outside on, you kill them because you don't recognize them as they are, okay, with as individual with their needs. And that's the major point for the action type story, is recognize who they are first, not what they do first, who they are. Okay, so recognize the human side of the person and the human condition of the person. And that's a very, very different story, because now you create a quality relationship, okay, where you build trust, where you build momentum in that kind of thing. And people will love that. All the guys, they will love that, because if they feel recognized, they will give their best.
Yes.
They will give their best.
Yes.
And if you just come with do this, do that, and you manipulate them with a lot of things, they will do, because you are the expert, you are the guy. But at the end, what do they have? Not that much. Not that much, because they cannot relate and they cannot build on who they are. Acknowledging them allows them to build, what we say, move to your next level. That's the motto of Action Type. Move to your next level. You always have a next level. You can be 90 years old, 100 years old, you have a next level. Okay? So if you are 16, 15, it's even worse, because you have a lot of next level.
Right.
So use those next level in a constructive way. Okay? Create your enough autonomy. Create, enough internal reference system where you can really self create solutions. Because what we want in a game as a player are people that can adapt. So the adaptation skills are the one we want to maintain. Okay? And if you go only with repetition, you kill that adaptation game.
That's right.
You kill that adaptation skills. Okay? Because by trying to do always the same, you create, like, if I give you a metaphor to help people understand that. Okay? You have a nice grass, quality grass in your garden. Okay? And you always walk on the same path in that grass. At some point, there's no more grass. Okay? And it's not growing again, because you're walking. It's exactly the same thing in your brain. If you do repetition, you have no more connection that are created, and you use always the same fixed system, and you create sclerosis, which means you kill the path. You kill the path, and that's very dangerous.
That is, and that's such a good analogy. So, can you give us an example of how you're using the 4 motor families, or the 4 things you said in whatever sport? Like, give us an example of in your experience, a brief one if you can, of how you applied it and how the outcome for that athlete helped them.
Yeah. Okay. So very easily, when you work with the action type story, what you want, as I said before, is help the guy in front of you become self-aware of what is playing now, what is at stake. Okay, so your main system will be always the one coming first, most of the time. Okay, like 70% of the time. Okay, so you need to understand that reference system. Okay, in order to understand where you find the strength in that system. But if you're talking strength, we don't like to talk about strength and weaknesses. We talk about what is ready and not ready. Okay, because in all 4 you have things that are ready and things that are not ready. So the people has to become conscious about what is ready. So for example, the person, let's talk about my sport, if you want.
Yes.
If I'm gonna play, like, a serve a ball, okay, I need to understand how to relate to the ball. Okay, and I will use my body to target the ball. Okay, which means the people, they think that they target or they aim with their eyes. Okay, no, we don't aim with our eyes. Our eyes are calibrating the balance and everything, but we aim with our body. Our body is playing. So we teach how to use the body naturally, using also differential learning. Okay, use that. Try. What is the best for you? Okay, and the guy says, I feel doing that one gives me more sensation and more touch in the ball. Okay, try again that one, and the person is. I don't say, okay, do this. I don't go for prescription. I go for, you need to learn from your body. Okay, what is ready now when you want to jump serve, for example. Okay, and how you create a timing where your body can give the all energy in the ball, for example. Okay, so that at the end with your hand here you can finish with ball effect where you want the ball to be. So the idea is we coach always not the action, because the action, the how you do things, okay, belongs to the guy, not to the coach.
Right.
The how belongs to the person. What I coach, knowing the profile, I coach the intention. What do you intend to do? Okay, according to the context. According to the context. Okay, I want the ball there. Okay, you want the ball there? How fast? Okay, what do you want to create there as a problem for the team on the other side of the net? Okay,
Right.
okay, I want to play between that guy, which is a good guy, and the other one here because they are the best. I want to create a communication problem between the two receivers.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you aim there? Okay, how do you aim there? And that's not easy, because when people are trying to do this, mainly they will jump on and hit the ball on one other guy. Because if you understand that your gaze, if your gaze is targeting and looking at one of them, your movement will go there, because the ball goes where you aim with your gaze. Okay, the movement of the eyes are the quickest movement we have in the body. There is no one movement in your body that is quickest than the gaze. Okay, uh, that's very intelligent to use the system that is the quickest here to anticipate. So your gaze is always anticipating, but there are different strategies, of course. So according to your profile, some people need to focus using what you call central vision first. Okay, and that will give them access to peripheral vision. Some other people, they start with peripheral vision, and that will give them access to central vision. So it's completely the way around, and you cannot teach one person the way around if it's not ready. If you're in your system, you use that strategy, which is, for me, for example, I focus and I feel the context and the periphery. If I cannot go the way around, I will not be ready. So I need to, for example, if you have two people receiving, I'm really going back to volleyball here. I need to be able to perceive the context, which means look in the middle and not on the one other guy. Because if I do this, I will serve on them, and I don't want to serve on them. Okay,
Right.
I need to feed both guys by finding a point in the middle, but there are no point on the surface. How do you do this? I create a mental image, which is, okay, I want to put the fire between them. I imagine a fire camp, for example, that is between the guys, and I serve in the fire like I want to, explode the fire in between.
Yeah.
Okay, and because I imagine that, my gaze will focus on the middle point between the two guys, not on them, and I will contextualize my strategy and kill both of them. Okay, because I link the detailed with the context,
That's
and
good.
everybody is linking detail and context according to profile. Okay, and if I know that I need that, I will use that, and that's used with soccer, with football, with a lot of things, because it's very, very important to understand the sense of movement. Okay, how do you anticipate? Because your brain, as we said, of course, is a coordinating device, but how do you coordinate your body? By giving anticipation skills. Okay, you want to predict what will be. And the brain is especially good at that, because all the system that we developed here, the frontal and everything, the executive part, they help project, okay, project and anticipate what we want. And if I know the profile, I know how that person can really create that projection and anticipation, which will be what we call a natural movement, which is
Natural.
it doesn't cost me anything.
Right.
Okay, it doesn't cost me anything because it's like, woof, I don't feel I'm doing something energetically specialist. I mean, something that is demanding for me
Right.
because it's like a flow. Okay, I know my strategy. I know what I need with my anticipation skills. I go for it. Boom, and they're incredible. Okay, but the problem, people they serve in the net. Sometimes they serve in the net. Okay, because when you are stressed, you kill your conditions, which is you kill your linking of body movement with the ball, because the perception action cycle, okay, you know that one,
Yeah.
doesn't allow you to adapt to the ball that you throw for spiking, for example, for jump serve, because you are stressed and you lose the contact, the connection with your own ball.
Right.
And that's not what we want. We want to stay connected with the ball even if I throw the ball, which means I need to create a relation from my body jump to the path of the ball. Okay? And that I can do only if I use my proper motor skill, the one that is at that time available. Okay? If I'm stressed, it will be another one. And if I feel a bit stressed, I will use the other one, not the first one, the second one maybe, or the third one. But I need to recognize before, okay, that ball cost $1 million because I need really to do something good, okay? Which means we also coach in terms of what do you want? I want that. Okay, I don't have to do that because this is cognitive stress. If you say yourself, I have to do that, you kill your mind. Okay, so I want to put the ball there, and I know strategically with that motor skill, I need to pick the cues, the cues here in terms of intention that way and not the other way around. Okay, and then you can be completely coherent with your strategy, and you know that if you let your body spontaneously do the job, bah, you kill it, no problem. Okay, and that's really how you learn to get confidence. Is say, I can do that because I know how I function. I know that here the need is this strategy. If I'm a bit stressed, I will have a posture change. I may be using the second one, and I know that I will use another strategy to aim. Okay, so I'm just completely not. I mean, like I feel myself like I'm confident enough that I will have a solution, because you will know that you always have a solution. Okay, when you learn to go with the 4, you always have a solution, and if you trust the fact that your body will give you the best, you use it.
Right.
So there's a learning process for trust your body. Trust your body. Whatever state you are, a bit tired, a bit stressed, emotionally impacted, you have a solution to kill that ball.
Let me
Okay?
ask you a question. So I wanted to share this with everybody out there. I got my confirmation.
Ah, yes. Okay.
I signed
Nice.
up. I signed up
Thank-
for the hybrid program. It's the
Okay. Thanks
first.
for that.
It's the first time you're bringing action types to the United States of America, with the
At that
opportunity
scale.
with,
At that scale, yes.
at
At
that
that scale.
scale, with the
Yes.
opportunity for us to be able to get to become a practitioner. Is that the right verbiage?
Exactly.
A practitioner. Okay,
Okay.
now so
We call it a detect type.
right. So I'd like you to explain to us what your vision is with that program,
Okay.
and how it's gonna work. Because I understand that it's a cohort system where
Yes.
it's live online. So would you be able to just touch on like how we can get involved and how we can?
So, okay, for the people, we will put the links, how to register, how
Yeah.
to go, and you have the possibility to see the first session. It's a 3 hour session, first 3, where we give a few cues, a few information, practical, that can help a lot of the coaches.
Yeah.
Okay, a few tips and tricks also. Of course, we don't give everything on the first session, but
Of course.
the first session is already a nice way to grasp where it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, And we give that free, the first free. We decided to give that completely public, the first session, 3 hours, because we want, the aim is that people understand that we can do very simple things, okay, that are linked to the need of the people if we respect the client and if we respect the fact that we are dealing with complexity. Okay, your brain deals with complexity like an expert. It's designed to deal with complexity, and the result is you will find the best action that relates to the complexity you are dealing with, because the action is always simple, but how you prepare, how you coach intention, what is behind that, it's a complex system, and you need to respect complexity in order to create the best possible effective and action. Okay, if you understand complexity, then you understand what we call robustness. Performance is fragile. Performance, a grand saying, you kill your coordination.
Yeah.
Okay, so performance is very fragile, and you need to understand how to create the best possible condition for your body and brain to create the best possible action, which is very simple, because all the solutions in ActionType, they are highly simple. Okay, but you need to understand a little bit of complexity behind. You need to understand that you have a lot of things available to let that simplicity express. Okay,
Yeah.
because if you want simple solutions that are effective, you need to understand and work behind the scene
Yeah.
in order for that to happen. Okay, so it's really learning how to trust your natural movement. Okay, because you have a body intelligence that creates natural movement, ballistic movement, natural movement that are highly efficient.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you want to um, do too much in terms of control, like uh, don't do not you don't let your natural tendency to express like free to express,
Mm-hmm.
and you want too much control, you will kill your movement, you will kill your natural movement.
Yeah.
So if you use your mind and cognitive skills to control the things, you will kill your movement, you will kill your ability to self-organize and use your natural movement. So you need to understand when and why using your cognitive skills, when and why and how, of course, use your emotions and what you can use in your emotional levels, because you can use them as also weapons. Your emotions can be used as weapons. Okay, and when and why and how to use your body with that natural movement patterns, or those natural movement patterns, and that hybrid program will allow people to understand what do you use when you are in a comfort zone, what do you use when you are in your recovery zone. Okay, how to profile in a very effective way, and not just by doing old stuff we created that a lot of people are using now, which were 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 thing. Okay, how to use the 4-0 up to almost 5 now. Okay, to really have a better quality in profiling, and you know what are the risks also of profiling.
Right.
Okay, because there are some risks. You need to go ethically with, you need to respect the clients, you need to respect the kids, you need to acknowledge who they are. There is a lot of ethical conduct here to have,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
because you have a lot of tools. We will give you a lot of tools, and you are responsible of the use of those tools. I mean, if I give you a hammer, you can create a lot of things, nice things. Okay, it's a tool, but you can also kill somebody with a hammer. So when I give you a hammer, in the end, you're responsible of the hammer. Okay,
Right. Right.
so you need to know that if we give you tools, use them properly to construct something. Be constructive enough, and respecting your clients, the kids, the athletes, the people around, so that you don't disturb the natural flow of the movement. Okay, and that's very important. So use what you have. Don't try to do something that is not natural. Okay, use what is ready. Use what is ready. Okay, and learn how to ask the body uh, what is ready now. Okay, the body is the chief. Okay, the mind is a servant, the body is the
Right.
chief. So listen to your body, l- learn how to profile and how to choose what is best for you at the moment, and contextualize your intention. Contextualize your intention. So we will give a lot of tools there, a big toolbox for people. We will allow in the session, which are hybrid distance session, we'll give them a lot of also practical situation they can experiment and come back with their feedbacks. But at the same time, we'll get also an online course
Mhm.
where they can stabilize the knowledge. Okay, at their pace, at their speed.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then in June we will come to Philadelphia for a weekend that is intensive enough with our people, so that they will experience sensation directly, and what to do really concretely, and finish what we started. And we will have an extra session in July for like the global feedback at the end,
Yeah.
the global question, that will be surely coming at some point, because when people will experiment, they will have more and more question. Okay,
That's right. Hmm.
that's normal. That's normal. So we need to have that final moment. But in June, they can choose one of the weekend we will be there,
Yeah.
and of course they can really benefit from our experience, or more than 35 years of experience, and we can also make them aware of the pitfall that are here in the story,
Yes.
because there are some pitfalls you should avoid for
Hmm.
sure.
Hmm.
Okay, and we will help them, of course, validate their own profile, because if they validate their own profile, they will be much better at profiling the others. Okay, so that's self-knowledge, highly important, because they will understand their needs. And last thing, they will understand the two profiles they have, the motor profile, the motor signature, and they will understand what we call the motivational profile. Motivational profile. Okay,
Yeah.
we have two profiles that are interacting. It's why most of the people that are profiling now and that don't understand action types, they most of the time make a lot of mistakes, because they don't understand that you have an autonomous nervous system that has preferences, and you
Hmm.
have a voluntary motor system that has also preferences. And
Hmm.
the two systems, the voluntary and non-voluntary, they interact, and they have two systems. Okay, the motivation profile is here for you to prepare before you do. Okay, and the voluntary is the one that will realize effectively the technique. Okay,
Right. Right.
but those systems, they can collide, they can create tensions, and they can collide. And if you understand their role and how they coordinate together, you avoid a lot of errors.
Hmm.
Okay, and you also increase your health,
Hmm.
because if you use the motivational profile, which is also profiled by movement. Okay,
Hmm.
you understand mainly or more how your body self heal.
Hmm.
Okay, and you can increase the ability to self heal. You can increase the muscle tone in your body. You can increase the ability to lift weights, or to move something, or to hit harder. Or, I mean, there is a lot of things. I mean, it's incredibly rich. That's a problem, because you can do really a lot of things. But because you have a huge toolbox, you are responsible to start with the need of the person that is in front, and not all use the toolbox because the guy is here. Okay,
Right. Right.
what's the problem, what's the need, and then you choose the tool.
Right.
Okay, because if you have a problem in surgery somewhere, you don't have to open somewhere else.
Right,
Okay, so
right.
just do the thing that you need. Okay, and not all the athletes, they need something at some moment. Okay, most of the athletes, they will not need a coach at most of the time.
Right.
When they need, you have to be here with the proper tool. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Going for
the book, the 800-page
going for
book.
the program. So that's a special edition for the 10th anniversary of our international gathering. Okay, this thing has 800 pages. So people in the course, they will receive the book. That's 5-6 years of translation from French to English, from somebody that is also an English teacher and also a certified person in ActionType. So she understands the language, she understands the whole thing, and that's something where they will have also, because we will reprint that. That was a special edition for the 10th anniversary in London, okay, of the what we call the ActionType exchange platform. We have an international year every year for 10 years now
Yep.
of going practitioners together from the world, so that they can share and exchange best practices. Okay,
Yeah.
with a theme. Okay, last year in London it was arts and sports. Arts and sports. How we coach in arts and how we coach in sports and how we bridge arts and sports also. Okay, this year it will be in Germany, in Mainz, near the laboratory of Dr. Wolfgang Schulhorn, and we will be in a theme which is called out of the box. Okay, and we have a lot of lectures and a lot of workshops where people can discover a lot of things. So here it's a reference book. It's a reference book
Yeah.
with all the motivational profile, all the motor profile, and the combinations. And it's about something like 20-30 pages for all the profile per profile.
Wow.
And there is a big introduction about the stake. What is at stake when we use what we call motor signatures? Motor signatures is also the official scientific name when you study that. And we have a site called also, okay, actiontypes.com, no problem. But we have also motorsignatures.com, where we put also research, scientific literatures, and some documents for people to also grasp what we are talking about. Okay, so it's very important for people also to understand that. Okay, we will, because now we develop a little bit. We were not marketers, we were not selling our things, but we noticed that a lot of people are making things out of the track when they use what we developed. Okay, and the danger is for the client, for the kids, for the athlete, because if you reduce in a simplistic way the system, okay, you will create injuries, you will create problem. You are doing exactly what you want to avoid. Okay, and that's dangerous,
That is.
because you need again to acknowledge and to recognize the people's needs, and not being a magician or the wizard or a sorcerer and do things that are, I mean, not natural, not ethical.
Right.
Okay, so what we want to bring to the US is ethical conduct when you use motor signatures.
And
Okay.
that's exactly what I got when I first heard you speak and heard you talk about this. And I believe, and I appreciate your energy. I know you had a long day. I appreciate your energy in this podcast. I appreciate your transparency. I appreciate your obviously your integrity, and I appreciate. And I'm so happy that it's coming to the U.S. in this form, because I've been waiting for something like this. This is something that I've been waiting for something like this, and I think so have a lot of people. And it's an honor to have you on the podcast. I would like to let you know that I'm going to, and my listeners, I want you guys to know that all of the links, all of the resources, and everything that you mentioned in this podcast will also be in the show notes. So you guys don't have to scramble around trying to find out what he's saying and where to find things. I'm gonna have everything outlined for you guys in the show notes and in the podcast description as well, with clickable links, so everybody can find how to sign up. Do a little bit more dig a little more deeper. I even have some other podcasts that you can where you can find Coach Bertrand talking about this stuff even in further detail on different platforms. Because
Exactly.
I believe you guys should all do your due diligence and do your research, because it's going to make us better as coaches. It's going to make us. It's going to take our sport to the next level, and
Exactly.
we're going to be able to do more for our clients, more for our students than we've ever been able to do before, because it's really putting it in a proper perspective about what is needed in the coaching industry. And I think this is the perfect time. We have the technology to get this done. We have the ability to reach so many people with
Yeah.
this newfound enlightenment, and I
Mhm.
am overly excited about this.
And I'm
So,
very grateful that you invited me here, and
mhm.
I'm also very honored to be able to talk to your community.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So I want to give you the final words. Final words, Coach. We'll end it off on you.
Okay, final words. Okay,
Yes.
so I could understand that people are hesitating to go in such a change of paradigm, okay,
Mhm.
in terms of coaching, in terms of way. But as you said, we really need to understand that the first quality of the coach is observing, listening, and respecting the needs of the people in front of you.
Mhm.
And we want really the people to understand that if you want to have success and if you have to have long-term success without harming anybody, without doing anything that could major the career of somebody, okay, it could also disturb something.
Mhm.
You need to understand what is important and what is less important.
Yep.
So that's for me the final words. Be ready for what is coming.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you, Rob.